Hi, I'm astrologer Penny Dix, and welcome to another Astrobite. And the one today is in honor of the new moon in Aquarius and a deeper look at some of the more interesting aspects that are happening also today around the energy of this new moon. It's the 29th of January and it's 2025. And yes, today we have a new moon in Aquarius. Now, if you've not already, please go and watch my new moon in Aquarius video, which is up on my channel. And that will give you a different slant and another in-depth look into the energies of today's new moon in Aquarius. But what else is happening today? Because this is actually quite an important day. We're building up to an important end of the month of January. And first of all, if we just look briefly at the new moon energy, because the new moon in Aquarius, which the chart I have is actually before the moon turns new, because it's the other aspects that I wanted to look at today, which is namely the node leaves Aries, because the node has been flirting in and out between Pisces and Aries, because it goes direct, retrograde, sometimes several times in a day. But today it does finally leave Aries and moves in to Pisces. However, I've just remembered it does move back into Aries because we have an eclipse in March where the eclipse is in Aries. So it's quite difficult to understand the movements of the moon's nodes, which are these points in space on the ecliptic path of the moon, the sun, and the earth. So anyway, that aside, I think it's important to look at the degree that it's at, because of course it's moved from Aries into Pisces and it's at 29 degrees and 59 minutes. It's not actually making any particular aspect. And that's fine, because the North Node is about our kind of collective direction in life, our collective destiny with whatever might be unfolding, say, on the world stage today, and particularly with the new moon in Aquarius kind of happening a little bit later in the day. But we also have to look at another very important aspect today, which is Mercury, our planet of communication, exactly conjunct Pluto in Aquarius. Now, because Pluto hasn't been in Aquarius for over 247 years, every time the sun, the moon, a planet, an inner planet or an outer planet comes up to make an aspect or conjunct it, it's the first time we're experiencing this in Aquarius. So it's kind of a big deal. And so Mercury is, of course, our planet of communication. Aquarius is an air sign, like Mercury is an air planet. But Mercury is flexible and Aquarius is fixed. So how does Mercury behave in this Aquarius energy? Because it is, of course, social media and the internet. It's also AI. And it's almost as if our communication skills as human beings are being taken out of our hands today by artificial intelligence. So maybe around this new moon, we are going to see some kind of announcement made about some new form of AI that becomes available to all, which is one of the things that is most definitely going to become almost commonplace over the next 19 to 20 years. And Pluto conjunct Mercury in this part of the chart. Pluto is a transitional planet. It's a planet that empowers whatever it touches, but it also, on one level, rips it apart to the core, because it wants to see the dark side and the shadow side. So there may be something around today that comes out which is saying, okay, it's all very well that we have these wonderful AI technologies, but how regulated and controlled are they? It's a little bit as if Pluto today is behaving like a devil's advocate. Because remember, actually, Pluto is Hades. Pluto rules the underworld. Pluto is the god of hell. It's almost as if Pluto is saying, have you any idea what you are unleashing? Have you any idea how this will change and affect humankind? Be careful what you all wish for, because you are getting it now. And with the new moon in Aquarius a little bit later in the day, it's like saying, da-da, here it is. Bring it on. It's here, whether you like it or not. Which I think is a sober kind of reminder or little nudge to say, let's be careful. Let's tread carefully with our experiences of artificial intelligence. I also think on a more mundane level today, because Jupiter retrograde in Gemini is out of sign trining, or not quite out of sign, but trining Pluto and Mercury and the new moon. There's a sense of excitement and a build-up of energy that is how it is going to affect us in the home. We're just not even beginning to see how this is going to change our lives, the technology that is going to become available over the next few years. And we've still got the energy that I talked about on the 25th of Venus trining Mars, which is retrograde in Cancer, and also they're both being sextiled by Uranus, that is retrograde in Taurus, about to go direct, but I'm going to do a separate Astrobite for that. So there is still something about, with all this artificial intelligence and the technology that we have and the ability we have to talk to anyone, anywhere in the world, basically for free. You remember in the old days, well, those of you that are old enough, you know, you had to book a telephone call if you wanted to talk to your, cousin in America, for example. And it cost a lot of money, and the operator would phone you and say, your call is ready to connect now, and they would connect you and you would have your chat and you'd get an enormous phone bill. And of course, now we can just go click, 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 and we're through. So there's something I think about the energy that is saying, because remember, Aquarius is an air sign. And the other energy that is around today is water. There's not much, well, there's very little earth. So we need to consciously ground ourselves within all of this energy and not allow ourselves to get taken over by. Because I think what will happen is, if we do that, it's going to make us, there is the potential for us becoming too lazy and not trying and not working things out for ourselves. If we've got some device, app, computer program that does it all for us, what happens to our brains? But then actually on another side of that could be, maybe it frees our brain up to explore the other areas of the brain that have yet to be utilized, namely letting our consciousness grow and develop and expand into the world of quantum communication, into the world of being able to sense another's thoughts at a distance, which happens all the time, but we just go, oh, it's just a coincidence. There are no coincidences. And my friend Andy in Canada sent me a link to these telepathy tapes, podcasts, which are absolutely fascinating. And they are about the investigations, if you like, into autistic children, and especially autistic children that don't have the power of speech, but they have the power of thought and mind and communication, and they can read people's minds. In some cases, it's just a significant other, like maybe their mother. But the potential that this opens up is enormous. So I'm going to talk more about that in tomorrow's Astrobite with Uranus, but let's move on to our word for the day, because I thought that the word for the day would be good if we had communication, because I think it would be a sad day if we lose the ability to communicate face to face and not always over electronic devices. So anyway, George Bernard Shaw said, the single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. Well, yeah, that happens. That happens. Plato said, wise men speak because they have something to say. Fools speak because they have something to say. Oh, sorry, I've got that wrong. Let me start again. Plato said, wise men speak because they have something to say, but fools because they have to say something. And that's so true. And it reminds me of a coaching course I did once, but it was when I got involved in one of these terrible, well, no, I shouldn't say that, a network marketing company. I think we all go through this at some time where we think, oh, I could make loads of money. You don't, you spend a lot. But I did learn a bit. But anyway, one of the things they were teaching me about sales was when you make your pitch about this product is what you want, because the first person to speak after you've made your pitch is the person that loses. So as the seller, I don't go, what do you think? I, as the seller, have to shut up, because the buyer or the potential buyer will feel so uncomfortable, they will be compelled to say something, even if it's no thank you, and walk away. But it's quite an interesting concept, because it's, you know, it's what we fill in to the space, that silence is an uncomfortable position. It's like when I've said that, you know, the wonderful quote about no is a complete sentence. And I think we learn so much from being reminded of that. Can you come out tonight? No. All right, you can be polite and say no, thank you. You do not have to justify anything. You do not have to explain yourself to anyone. You have the right to say no and to not give a reason. So many times we think, I have to explain. I have to justify, because we think, oh, maybe I'm hurting this person. Maybe they're taking it personally and I don't want them to feel that. Actually, you know, that's not your problem. How they receive your no is not your problem. It is their problem. Jim Rohn said, effective communication is 20% what you know and 80% how you feel about what you know. Okay, yeah, that kind of makes sense to me. I would say when I am doing these Astrobites and doing the astrology, I endeavour for each video to be done on a first take. Sometimes that doesn't work and I, after 2 minutes, have to switch off and go back to the beginning. And I go, oh, no, why did I get it wrong? Why did I say that? But it's because my concentration just drifts for a while, because I am focused on the 20% of what I do know, and I'm not finding it easy to access the 80% of how I feel about what I think I know, if that makes sense. John Powell said communication works for those who work at it, and that is very true. And that is something one learns as a psychotherapist. First of all, the active listening, and then the mindful communication, the way we present a probing form of communication to empower another to look at themselves on a deeper level and find their own solutions. James Hume said, the art of communication is the language of leadership. Yeah, that's true. Good public speakers, good the public image, public speaking, and an ability to present your case well is what makes people vote for you, or what will make people come to your talk. If it's not presented in a way that attracts your attention, then people won't come. And they say, and this is what I endeavour to do, that if you don't get people in the first probably minute or so, they'll switch off and go. I think most people probably give it a minute and a half, maybe 2. And if they're caught in those 2 minutes, then they'll probably listen to a bit more. But if you your concentration goes as a presenter, then they will tune out as well and probably stop watching. So it's easy, and it's been a lesson for me with doing these videos to learn how to maintain that level of constant conscious awareness of what I'm trying to convey when I make a video. Stephen R. Covey said, listen with the intent to understand, not the intent to reply. And that is often one of the biggest problems we have. We listen to reply because, oh, I've got a good story. Me. Let me speak next. Oh, yes, that happened to me because when it happened to me, and off you go. And the other person is like, I've just spilled my guts out to you, and you've completely gone and poured cold water on it. George Herbert said, good words are worth much and cost little. And that's true. Mother Teresa said, kind words can be short and easy to speak, but their echoes are truly endless. Mahatma Gandhi said, speak only if it improves upon the silence. And I kind of agree with that and not, because I think one has to be careful if you're filling a silence. Silence is incredibly powerful, and it's a hugely powerful tool within the bounds of communication. And a lot is said in our silence. Let's move on to the final quote, which is Tony Robbins, who said, to effectively communicate, we must realize that we are all different in the way we perceive the world and use this understanding as a guide to our communication with others. So I think I'm just going to read that one again, because to effectively communicate, we must realize that we are all different in the way we perceive the world, and use that understanding as a guide to our communication with others. Now it makes sense, because in the middle of that, my attention went just a little, and I pulled myself back, you see, because I'm human, and thought, I've lost the thread. I've just dipped out of the frequency I was on of concentration. So on that note, let's bring this particular Astrobite to a close. And I'll say, have a lovely new moon in Aquarius. Manifest wisely today and intend wisely. And please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And I really look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now. Bye.